Before we get started with today's interview, just a quick reminder, click the thumbs up, make sure you subscribe and ding the bell so that you don't miss any of the great interviews that we have coming up. Now, on to today's interview. Welcome back, everybody. Today, my guest is Scott Price. His piece on the new Federation Festivals list is Water Lilies. You can find it at tomdrewmusic.com. Welcome, Scott. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Great to be here with you.
I loved sight reading this piece. This piece, Water Lilies, has these really cool, sophisticated sounding harmonies. It has this lovely lilting 3/4 time. And it's also something that is a great piece for an older beginner, for an adult student. It sounds more difficult than it really is. I love all of these things about this piece. Talk to us a little bit about what inspired you to write Water Lilies.
Well, honestly, I'm glad that you enjoyed it because it's one of my favorite pieces too. I enjoy playing it. I love the sound of it. And it really, all of my pieces sort of come out of an improvisation. So I just sit down, don't think beyond, is it going to be elementary or intermediate or late elementary, and then just start playing some things and then come up with an idea and then just let it roll itself out. So this one, yes, it does sound a little bit harder than it is because of the harmonic content, but the harmonic rhythm is very, very slow. So basically one chord per measure. So it's very easy for students to reposition their hands and find the key groups on the keyboard. And one of the things I always tell my students as I'm looking at this piece and when I'm teaching a piece like this is to really be aware that the dots on the page are keys on the keyboard. And so they go through that extra step of making sure that they know that the C is a white key, the E flat is a black key, and how to shape the hands and grab those keys at the keyboard or just roll the body through the motions there.
That is super, super, super advice. There are some really cool, sophisticated harmonies that are involved in this piece. And I also noticed there's some cool secundal harmony. There's a little bit of dissonance. You don't just have plain old vanilla triads. So when you're improvising a piece like this, how do you go about finding and allowing yourself to have something outside of plain old vanilla triads?
Oh, that's a great comment and question too. I think when I'm improvising, I'm starting with a key, and that's my tonic sound. And then for a piece that's, 32 measures long or 36 measures long, I just want to decorate that key. And of course, for our students, I want them to have some sense of tonic, subdominant, and dominant where appropriate, but I want to decorate that in a way that's going to give them more of an aural acculturation to a wider sound world of patterns. And then with this particular piece, I wanted to help a student get ready for their first Debussy or their first Ravel, or wonderful pieces by other composers that are just a few steps up the ladder from this one that will help them bridge that gap before they end up with Feu d'Artifice by Debussy or something like that.
But is there anything else you would like us to know about Water Lilies?
Just that there are some big stretches in the left hand, and it is perfectly okay always to roll those if a student isn't able to reach that with their stretch. So I always like to build, and I expect a lot of freedom in performances of my piece, and I hope that students will feel free to stretch things and make their own musical decisions and explore things to make them work in a very personal way.
And this piece really invites that exploration and that need to be expressive and slightly rubato. It right away, as I always set up a metronome to make sure I'm recording these pieces at the correct tempo. And right away, I said to myself, I have to turn off the metronome because I'm going to ruin this piece as I perform it. So I'm going to get that tempo in my head and then I'm going to record. And it's so easy to play with thoughtful rubato. You've done such a really marvelous job of crafting this piece. I truly love it, and I can't wait for everybody to see it. So thank you so much for being here today, Scott Price. My guest is Scott Price. His piece is Water Lilies. You can find it at tomdrewmusic.com. We will link it down in the description so that you can check out this piece. You need to check out this piece for your students. You are going to love it. Thank you, Scott.
All right, thank you, Sam.